Hello and welcome one and all, it is I, the Dark One here yet again, here to talk to you about this week's episode of Kamen Rider Saber. A lot happened. Honestly, this episode, like a lot of people complained about Saber's pacing so far, like say how the show has a really fast pacing. And yeah, it does, it's a really fast pacing. A lot has happened in such a short time, we're only at episode 6. A lot has happened around episode 6. Episode 6, like the wind, he arrives, and yeah, this episode feels like the wind, all right. Like a lot happens, but not a lot happens. It feels weird, but I don't hate it. I'm honestly kind of halfway mixed on certain parts of the episode. But let's talk about that episode plot, shall we? So we start off our episode with Toma and Kento just hanging around Source of Logos HQ. They are, just there, and Toma's basically asking permission to read the books in the HQ, with Sophia obviously agreeing and telling him to ask Slash about anything. Slash, being a potential Kamen Rider, who we find out at the end of the episode is actually the current swordsmith, Tetsuo. Tetsuo was previously a Kamen Rider. He might still be. We don't know. We don't even have any scans of a Kamen Rider Slash. But considering the fact that swords can be passed down in this series, it's possible he gave his sword to somebody else, or he just can't transform for one reason or another, or just doesn't want to right now. Anyway, he previously was Slash, or is currently Slash, we don't know, but he's Slash. Anyway, we're then quickly introduced to Kamen Rider Kryenzan, aka Ren Akamichi, who, my prediction about him being young in the last episode was right. He has a young, energetic energy. He's very much a scrappy knucklehead ninja. So he's kind of like a Naruto, in the sense that he's a ninja, but he's very loud, boisterous, and un-ninja-like at times. But he, still has the skills to pay the bills, essentially. Still a better ninja than anyone from Ninja. Oh god, Ninja sucks. Anyway, yeah. So Ren is here, and he established to really like fighting, and believes in power, all that kind of stuff, and seems to have an attachment to Kento for some reason. We don't know yet, but the funniest thing that happens early on is the fact that when Kento introduces him to Toma, introduces Ren to Toma, because he says, "Oh, this is a new comrade, this is a new Saber," and then Ren looks at him for a moment, is like, "Oh, you're a scrub," and the look on Toma's face, I just love it. I love the acting in his face in that moment. It's this moment of pure shock, and I love it. Wonder if he even know he's going to get called that in the script. Anyway, so we cut to another Megiddo, like not immediately cut to, Ren and Toma have a moment where they have a little play sword fight with some paper swords, and they make a bet about whoever hits the other first wins. I guess the other one's Wonder Ride book, and Toma hits him and gets his Three Little Pigs Wonder Ride book temporarily, and then Toma and Kento go to fight the Megiddo of this week, who is yet another Piranha Megiddo. So we have another Piranha Megiddo, but remember they said that Megiddo can be reborn if, because the book's already made, so they can just reuse them. So Megiddo will probably just, so the Megiddo that are reborn will probably just be used if they're just filler fights or just, fights to get the plot moving. Like the Golem Megiddo the last time we saw it. So, Toma and Kento fight it, and then the Zast shows up and fights Kento. While Toma is busy dealing with the Piranha Megiddo. Toma uses 3 little pigs and beats it, and then goes off to check a mysterious stranger who walks in on the battle, only for it to be Storios, one of the 3, Megid members, the 3 heroes, and Megid, the one in charge of stories. So, he puts a spell or a curse on his sword driver, and now he can't unsheath his blade, so we can't transform, and his ass steals the Storming Eagle book. Again. So, Storming Eagle stolen again, and Kento and Toma has to figure out how to unsheath the sword, and he's told by Tetsuo that the only way to do that would be for him to go to a forbidden land, aka Avalon, which is a forbidden which is kind of like a holy land in the King Arthur mythos, which it makes sense they would call back to that. This is a story about swords and knights and all that kind of stuff. So it makes sense for them to call back to King Arthur, especially considering the fact that gets the King Arthur book in the next episode. Spoilers. Yeah, so that's going to be important. So Toma's busy investigating that, and he basically tells Ren to fight in my place for right now. We'll make a bet, and everyone's like, "Hey, we'll make a bet. If I can beat the Megiddo before you can find Avalon, then I win." And so they have to make a little bet, which Toma isn't really taken too seriously. Ren just seems to need the extra motivation to get out there outside of just fighting and hanging out with Kento, and they go fight another Piranha Megiddo because they're Piranha Megiddo all over the place apparently. They fight the Piranha Megiddo in Disaster, while Toma is looking at the Wonder Rider book, and Kienzan has a really cool fight with Disaster. It's a really cool fight that shows off what he can do. His weapon looks kind of dumb because it's a one sword that you flip open to do two swords because he uses two blades, and his sword is sort of like Buster's sword, but not as. It works better with Buster's sword due to how large it is, but since his sword is shorter, the fact that the book's placed on the sword feels kind of weird. But anyway, outside of that, we also get the needle, the second volume book for Espada. He uses Needle Hedgehog and his base book in this episode. Because Piranha, which probably wasn't needed, considering the fact he could take out the Piranha Megiddo easily with just his base book in the last episode. But you know what? Still a cool form debut. Anyway, so we have a cool fight with Kienzan, and Kento gets, and Espada gets a quick flash fight just to end the Piranha Megiddo again, while Toma is investigating Avalon. While all this is happening, remember how I said that this episode was a lot, and that already was a lot? Add another subplot on there, because Rentaro needs his time. Yeah, so Rentaro is, basically he's looking for Zuos again, for some reason, and him and May find Zuos with, I'm assuming this world's version of either Instagram or Twitter, because he thanks some kind of social media app for them finding Zuos, which is kind of funny. Anyway, they find Zuos, and, Rentaro goes to fight Zuos and gets his ass kicked, with Zuos mentioning, "Oh, I fought a Kamen Rider Blaze before, and I killed him 15 years ago." So he killed Rentaro's master, who we actually have a name for. His name is Kenshin Nagamine. Interestingly note, his actor, he's played by the same actor who played, I think it was the Blue Ranger in Bokenger. Let me check the article. Yeah, he played he played Buboken in Gogo Sentai Bokenger, which, for those of you who don't know what that is, that is the season of Super Sentai that got translated in America as Power Rangers Overdrive. So, not a stellar season, but I haven't seen Bokenger, so maybe it's better, and maybe his acting skills are probably better. Anyway, a lot of Super Sentai alumni come back this week. Guess we'll have two former Rangers coming back in this week's episode of Kira Major. So a lot of guest spots. I mean, he didn't come back this week; he's coming back next week. But still, a lot of Super Sentai alumni guest spots. Anyway, so episode ends and everyone's at Swords of Logos. Thomas found his way to Avalon, which will go in next episode, and Rentaro stumbles in, all beat up, and doesn't even acknowledge everyone else. He just kind of rushes to his little case, I guess, and pulls out the Unicorn book, which I guess he's had on standby this whole time. I don't know. And Peter Fantasia, and goes into the back room. Now, the back room of the Source of Logos is an interesting location because Ren was back there, and apparently that's a training spot. So, he's going back in there to go training, which that's interesting. So, Ren's going into the Swords of Logos training room, which is maybe like the Hyperbolic Time Chamber in Dragon Ball. I don't know. It potentially is because Ren's apparently been in there for a while, but it's interesting. Anyway, so that's basically it. A lot has happened in this episode. Uh, which, again, this episode was probably the most messed with or borked by the show's really fast pacing. Because, again, there were 3 subplots in this one episode. And honestly, Toma's whole quest for Avalon in the books was a really quick subplot, so that could have been really shortened down. But, Rintaro's whole avenging his master subplot feels like it should have been longer. Like, maybe at least the main focus of 1 or 2 episodes instead of just the side plot of an episode with already too much going on. Like, I feel that it was just add on to this episode to hurry up and get to him using 3 volumes next episode, as well as to they'll give him more to do, considering he's been really shunted to the background since Kento showed up. And now we have Rin showing up, so he's even more pushed to the background those sorts of Logos cast. Hell, Buster didn't even show up in this episode. So he's probably dealing with parent stuff right now. So yeah, honestly, I mix on this episode because, again, I feel like Rintaro should have been given probably more screen time to deal with this whole master stuff, instead of it just being kind of really quickly mentioned and then brought up in this episode. And again, May didn't do anything. She was basically just there to be a mouthpiece for Rintaro and just be his sidekick, which she surprisingly stuck with for a good few episodes now, being Rintaro's sidekick, which feels weird how she's just following Rintaro around right now. Toma's whole, finding Avalon subplot, it kind of has a funny moment. It definitely let Tetsuo do more stuff instead of just be a background character, which I guess is fine, but it just feels kind of over and done with. Like, I honestly feel this could have been really just left out of the episode without much being wasted outside of just, him figuring out how to get to Avalon. But, next episode we're going to have to deal with the Avalon stuff and the Rintaro stuff. And then we have to also deal with, Kienzan's, introduction, and his character and all that kind of stuff. Again, a lot happened. This episode was really fast-paced, and it kind of made the episode overall mix. What I did like about the episode was, again, I liked the fights. Those were pretty good. Even Blades getting his ass kicked was a pretty interesting fight. I did kind of like the moments that Toma had with Tetsuo, because Tetsuo has a really weird personality quirk, I think. It wasn't there before, but it's all over this episode where he doesn't want people to look him in the eyes, and he's like covering his face with stuff. Like, he's holding up the sword and he's covering his face with the sword in one moment, and it's like, it's a weird personality thing, and it's just there now, and it feels weirdly placed. But I did kind of like him and him talking about this one moment where he's trying to figure out what Tomo's trying to figure out about forbidden books that the sorts of Logos have. Speaking of forbidden books, they also mentioned this whole the 13 stories combined by one sword thing, and I wonder if that is going to be super important to the end story. We don't know how many Wonder Rider books there are. So far, we have the potential 3, well, not potential, the obvious 3 for our 3 main leads, which leaves 9. The Buster and Kenzan both have 2 books now, so that bumps it up to 10, 11, 12. That bumps it up to 13. That bumps up the number of books to 13, not counting Calibur's book or any potential other auxiliary books like the Arthur book. So I'm wondering if these 13 books will be important to the plot later on, or if it's just going to be quickly mentioned here, like 13 books united by one blade. That sounds oddly specific, and I wonder if it's going to come back up again. So there was a kind of fun moment there between Toma and Tetsuo. And again, Espada didn't do much at all in this episode besides have like one off-screen fight and another quick flash fight. And the Kenzan got a good fight this week. Again, it's his debut, so he needs a good fight. Interestingly enough, for his finisher, how each of the finishers, they have their little books showing their poses while they do the strike. Kenzan, he just brings out a wall scroll, and that's honestly a really cool effect. So again, I'm gonna give it to Kenzan in this department. He had at least a good fight debut. Him as a character, he's kind of a little much. He's a very loud, boisterous, fast character. It's surprising that he's considered a knight. Again, he feels younger than Toma. Like maybe he was a recent add-on right before Toma joined, and then he had to go into the hyperbolic time chamber to train, which Rentar's in the hyperbolic time chamber right now training, and we'll figure out what exactly that'll look like next episode. But yeah, so again, I'm not 100% sold on Ren's character. I am 100% sold on him as a Kamen Rider, like, at least in terms of his fighting ability and his skill with the sword. Not so much his personality. Like, he seems a little fast, like the episode in question. I guess he's the wind guy, and he's supposed to be like a hyperactive knucklehead ninja. So I guess it makes sense. But I would kind of like a bit more slow moments with him, because he really didn't have any in this episode. Yeah, so that's it. We have now been introduced to our 6 riders, and I want to talk about Caliber for a second, because again, we still haven't seen Caliber outside of suit. We do know him; he's being portrayed by, again, the actor from Fies, who played the Steak Orphanoch, at least his past self. And given the fact that the swords and the gear have been passed down, and not only can be, but have been passed down to previous people, it makes me wonder. I mean, obviously, because again, he still uses the voice changer. There's no point in the voice changer if we don't know the character, or if a character and or a character's gender is supposed to be hidden until later. Like, again, with I'm forgetting what series it was, because Gim didn't talk in his original appearances when he was just randomly popping up to fight against the other Kamen Riders to get his data. He just didn't say any words, so he didn't really need the voice changer. Volt used the voice changer to hide the fact that he was, damn, I'm blanking on names, that he was he was using the body of what's-her-name's dad. So it brings the question, is, the current Caliber still Hayato Fukuyami, or is he someone completely different? And he's just using the guise of Hayato to basically fuck with everybody. Again, question for another day. Although in the episode, even Caliber had a few moments, and I'm like, yeah, this episode's really fucking fast. Storios is basically asking Caliber, because Caliber is also trying to get to Avalon, basically asking Caliber what he'll do when he achieves that power. And we just get a quick shot of, well, not his face, his helmet, as it's supposed to be an important question. So again, that makes me wonder what exactly Caliber's deal is, why he's doing this, why he's working with the Megiddo, if he's in charge of them at all or not, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, a lot happened, and get it in like most of the episodes that we've had this series. It feels like we got a lot more questions and very little answers, which I guess is fine. And we're only on episode 6, so that's fine. Interestingly enough, we've gotten past all of our initial 6 writers. They've all been introduced, all have their moments. So that's basically it for all the Q1 toy scans. So we should be getting the Q2 toy scans relatively soon, and then after New Year's hits, we should be getting our 7th writer in this series, our post-movie writer, who I don't even know what the schedule is in terms of Kamen Rider movies right now, because the 01 movie is going to be premiering, I think, in December, which would normally be the slot for not exactly around December. Normally it's in around November, which would be the slot for our versus, our crossover movie between the previous writer and the current writer. In this case, it would be the 01 and Saber. But no word on that has come out, because they're still finishing up the 01 movie, because COVID kind of fucked over the schedule, which it did for a lot of people. Oh god. Yeah, but real life tragedies are way worse than fictional tragedies. Anyway, mixed episode, still a fun one, lots to enjoy, just a lot more questions than answers, and And, the questions are piling up and the answers we're getting aren't really there right now. They're dropping a lot of early series lore dumping, at least a lot of early series world building stuff for later on. And yeah, that's basically it. It's a pretty mixed episode. Still an enjoyable one. Still had fun with Kenzan's appearance. Again, a lot of questions and a lot of other stuff that needs answering. And yeah, honestly, I'm kind of hyped for next episode, if only because I feel next episode will start at least potentially answering a few questions that have been raised up. Uh, Also, next episode, again, don't mind spoilers. That's how I am. We get the full 3 volumes for Blades, which someone mentioned, a friend of mine, as well as I heard Japan May mention, that the suits seemed like they were designed in reverse order. Like they were designed at first with the 3 volumes completed, and then the elements of the volumes were taken away slowly till we got the 1 volume book forms. Which honestly, that would be cool. Also, I think there's a leaked scan of Saber's third legend book, at least the complete form of it. It might be the Journey to the West book, I believe, is the current toy scan leaks, which no matter what we do, we can never escape Son Goku, can we? Dragon Ball will always infect everything Toei does forever and all time. Well, either Dragon Ball or One Piece. So that is the episode. I already said it's mixed like 3 times, so that's my opinion on it. This episode honestly makes me really hyped for next week's episode, which hopefully will have better pacing. Hopefully. Again, I'm just gonna say Saber's probably just gonna be a really fast series considering how many characters it has to juggle right now, and then maybe it'll slow down later. Because unlike other series that start out with like 1 or 2 characters and then slowly added more over time, Saber's like, here's 1 or 2 characters, then let's add 3 more, add another one, add another one, add another one. So we have right now in episode 6, the 6 writers, May, the Kamen Rider girl, the 2 from the source of Logos, Tassel, who is there for some reason that we still don't know. So far, not even counting villains, well, counting 1 villain because he's a Kamen Rider, that is 10 characters, not including Sora, Buster's kid, the Flashback girl, which makes it 12 characters, and then we add in the Megiddo, which has 4 more characters, rounding out not rounding out, but finishing up with 16 characters so far, with a 17th planned because there's another member of the Megiddo we haven't been introduced to yet. So that's 17 characters before we're even done episode 10. And none of them are Sora might be a character today, but none of the other ones are characters today. They're all recurring. So that's a lot of characters to juggle. Because, just for comparison, in 01, the last season, by episode 6, we had, not counting characters of the day, we had obviously 01, we had his assistant Kamen Rider girl, and we had Ames, we had Fua Yaiba, and then so that's 4, and then we add on the vice president, his secretary Yuma Gear, and his assistant, not assistant, some kind of other below position. So that's 4 major characters, 3 side characters, and or anyone else? Bowser wasn't in there yet. Not counting villains, that's 7, and then we have the villains, which makes it 9, because I forgot about Jin Hirobi. So we are almost double the amount of characters that 01 had by this point in the season. Not counting characters today. So yeah, we are almost double that. We're also almost double the number of writers. No, wait, we're on the exact number of writers. But 01 kind of paced out his introductions a lot better, in my opinion. Mainly because I don't think they had as many gimmicky stuff in 01 as this season does. Because the book gimmick feels rather gimmicky at points. But, either way, I'm enjoying Saber. And I know a lot of people say it's contentious right now, but I still say it's early season. There are a lot of good stuff that probably will be contentious and that might get ironed out later because the show has a really quick pace and that it is annoying at some points, like in this episode in particular, but it can be worse in other points. But characters are still interesting, so that's all that matters. So yeah, fine episode. Mixed back to me personally, considering pacing issues. I said that multiple times now, so you should really know my point. So yeah, see you all next week, and yeah, enjoying Saber so far, but enjoying better pacing. Oh, and before I sign out this episode, I just want to say real quick, if you want my thoughts and opinions in a more scripted video with less slow, less rambly on other seasons of Kamen Rider, I'm currently working on getting through the entire Heisei era of Kamen Rider very slowly. The Agato video's up. The Ryuki video should be up in a few weeks, maybe 1 or 2 weeks. I forgot when the release date for that one is. But the Ryuki video should be up relatively soon. And after that, we're going to go in order. So after that will be not Fives. Fives will be next year, but video on Kamen Rider Dragon Knight. So yeah, surprise, surprise. The only English Kamen Rider season that's actually any good. We don't count the Bond Smash Rider. So yeah, if you want more Kamen Rider content, it's coming or already here. So yeah, enjoy it. And I'll see all of you guys hopefully next week as we go over the next episode of Saber. Because again, the plot's still thickening and the stuff's still pretty interesting. So again, till next week everybody, see you next time.